It's okay. Off your mind. It's okay. Off your mind.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don off mic, and if we talk, na 500,000 they go sama us call am hate speech. But fear not, Mayegun don come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun diary politico, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Can in the touchlight every corner, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power. Over naira, still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say Mayegun don come. So my people make you loud, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun diary politico, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. This one not dey off in mind, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he dey hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Poor man picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Mayegun don come. So my people make you loud, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. My people make you shout, oh yo yo. Mayegun don come, oh yo yo. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Mayegun diary politico. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary Nayibi number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Mayegun máa wí. àní ẹ̀sùn àjò.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn àjò.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bí pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn àjò.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn àjò.
Máyégún.
Hello there, brethren. So good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. It is Mayegun live. And thank you very much for joining me again. So as you are joining, remember, after reading the caption of the broadcast, read the description of the broadcast as well. Like it, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them to join us. Mayegun is live. And of course, if time permits, we can possibly take in calls tonight. So thank you for joining us. So we are going to start with the rider of the broadcast, which is the development going on in Rivers State. Last week, the Status of Assembly, Rivers Status of Assembly, sent a letter, an impeachment notice, 8 allegations against the governor, bordering on a gross misconduct, mismanagement of public fund, not getting State Assembly's appropriation approval before spending money, and on like that. Then, a few days after that, I think it was like about 2 days after, 2 members from those who signed the impeachment notice that was sent to the governor and the deputy governor, 2 of them came back and said, well, you know what, they would prefer they use political solution to solve their problems, instead of going the route of impeachment that may likely throw the state into another chaos. Then, 2 days ago, another 2 members of the same group of lawmakers who are planning to remove the governor also said they would prefer the political solution, whereby there would be no need for any impeachment. All of that now is like they have walked back all they have said, because this morning, first, the 4 members of the Status of Assembly that initially supported what they call the political solution that withdrew from the impeachment of Fubara, they were the first to speak by walking back on their own statement. So now they are all going ahead with the impeachment of Fubara. Do you need the backstory? No, you don't. So we're going to start from that, all right? So they have moved as far as sending a letter to the state chief justice of the state, like the chief judge of the state, to constitute what they call the impeachment panel, the one that would then give the Status of Assembly the go-ahead or not to impeach the governor. So this afternoon, the governor's group or his own camp, they approached a court in Rivers, the Port Harcourt High Court, that granted them an ex-parte order. An ex-parte order is to say the status quo should remain. Things should be as they are right now. There shouldn't be any impeachment or whatever, panel. However, the Status of Assembly have concluded, these guys have actually concluded their plan. And if everything goes as they are planning, Fubara and his deputy may cease to be governor and deputy governor of Rivers State before the end of this month, if they succeed. Now let's see how that plays out. So first, the 4 members that initially said they were not going to be part of the impeachment process anymore walked back on their own words, and they are part and parcel of the impeachment process against the Fubara with the weakest godson. Yeah.
Good morning, members of the press. You recall that on the 12th day of January 2026, myself and my colleague, Honorable Peter Abe, addressed the press, wherein we made a plea to our colleagues to seek for a political solution to this impasse that is going on between the Assembly and the Governor of Rivers State. During the pendency of this appeal, we found out that the Governor and the Deputy Governor, they have all employed their media boys and aides to continuously attack the Rivers State House of Assembly instead of seeking for the political solution which we offer. It is on this basis that I, Honorable Fubara and my fellow colleague here, Honorable Peter, they say that the impeachment proceedings should continue. We have presented our plea. Thank you so much.
Gentlemen of the press, you will recall, as the minority leader said, some few days ago, we pleaded with our colleagues to rescind the impeachment process. But as we all know, as my colleague, the minority leader said, we have been a series of attacks because we see that the governor's ploy is to continue to infringe on the Constitution. And remember, I told you that infringement on the Constitution is a no-go, it's a no-no. So the infringement, there is no stopping the governor and the deputy. So me, as an Nigerian man, I'm an Nigerian man with the governor, and this is not ethical. We should not ethnicize this. This is simply a constitutional matter. And so we are saying that the process should hereby continue. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I, Honorable Bokohari, the Deputy Minority Leader and member representing the Ghana constituency. Recall that on Wednesday, the 14th of January 2025, Honorable Amaechi and I addressed the media and stated that we are willing to adopt a political solution to the matter affecting the governor and his deputy governor, removal from office. Regrettably, the governor and deputy governor have sent signals to us that they are not prepared to retrace their steps and govern in line with the Constitution. They are adamant. We are now convinced that their strategy is to intimidate us into withdrawing the impeachment process for the third time while they continue their infractions on the Constitution and the law. They are insisting that others will come and we will not perform the oversight function like other states' legislation in the federation. This is very bad for our democracy. On this note, we are proceeding with the impeachment process, and while we thank Mr. President for his fatherly effort so far that the governor and the deputy governor have both disregarded, let me call on my colleague to say something concerning this issue. Thank you.
Gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I am Honorable Atiku Amaechi. I represent the good people of Obiakpo State Constituency 2. What Honorable Bokohari just said now is that we have resolved to proceed with the impeachment process. We had earlier taken a position to consider a political solution, but the governor and deputy governor are ignoring us. And regarding the House of Assembly to the background, they are insisting that they will not govern in line with the Constitution and that nothing will happen. There are strong indications that they are adamant with their decisions to continue with illegal actions in the state. And they are boasting that we do not matter and cannot perform oversight functions.
The two ladies are probably like illiterate. I don't know. I'm not like, they are like so dumb than what you can imagine. They had to jot something in a paper for them to go and read. The last time when they paired, the women, and the two of them were reading what they called their, following their hearts, right? In asking for political solution. Like then, it was the same piece of paper, reading like a kindergarten kids in a way. Honorable lawmakers. The second one that is saying that the governor said they don't matter. 2 days ago, he practically said she contacted Rhetoric, and Rhetoric told her to follow her mind or heart, and her heart is to call for political solution. Now, let me tell you the backstory of what changed in the last 48 hours. So initially, they said Fubara. Fubara himself said he was waiting for Rhetoric to arrange a meeting between himself and the State House of Assembly. But somehow, he managed to break into their ranks, in which some of them were accused of collecting money from him. That only lasted for just 3-4 days, right? So he managed to broker a kind of a deal with them, and they were supposed to reconvene yesterday. But somehow they didn't, because yesterday was the time they were supposed to actually really meet, discuss all their differences in court. And they seemed to have agreed to meet. All right, but the speaker didn't convene them to meet yesterday. So between that yesterday and today, everything changed. Now they are back to pointing fingers at themselves. It is his fault. They are using their media to abuse us. They are still threatening us and all of that. So when they all assembled in the house of the speaker this morning, that's when they were doing that, staged performance. All of them met, 26 of them, according to their reports, right? So then they walk straight into a place they are currently using as the temporary State House of Assembly sort of complex, right? And then this happened. This was before this was before they notified or directed the chief judge of the state to convene a panel and the process here, the vast State House of Assembly.
Pursuant to this section of the Constitution, I seek your leave to immediately put this to vote on that note. Members who are in support that the notice of allegations of gross misconduct against His Excellency Sir Fubara, GSSRS, Governor of the State, be investigated should indicate by raising their hands. Please do the count. Against, abstention, distinguished colleagues, the clerk, and ensure that the votes counted. Those in favor that the investigation should proceed are 25 number. Against, nil. Abstention, nil. Distinguished colleagues, by this voting, the Rivers State House of Assembly has resolved that investigations against allegations of gross misconduct leveled against His Excellency Sir Fubara, Governor of Rivers State, should proceed to the next level, which is investigation, and by virtue of Section 188, subsection 5, I will ensure that the resolution of this House is immediately communicated to the Chief Judge of the State. Clerk, what do we have next away? A call for votes in view of the notice of allegation of gross misconduct against Her Excellency Professor Rothiefmi Amaechi, DSSRS, Deputy Governor of Rivers State, pursuant to Section 188, subsection 3 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, the clerk has just read what we have in the other paper, which is the call for votes in view of the notice of allegations of gross misconduct against Her Excellency the Deputy Governor of Rivers State, Professor Rothiefmi Amaechi, DSSRS, pursuant to Section 188, subsection 3 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Distinguished colleagues, on that note, let me put the question. Those who favor that the allegations of gross misconduct against Her Excellency the Deputy Governor of Rivers State, Professor Rothiefmi Amaechi, DSSRS, be investigated should indicate by raising their hands. Against, abstention. Distinguished colleagues, the clerk of the House has ensured that the counting is properly done and have the votes at the end of the day. Those in favor of the decision that Her Excellency the Deputy Governor should be investigated and that the allegations should be forwarded to the Chief Judge are 25 in number. Against, nil. Abstention, nil. Distinguished colleagues, by this voting, it clearly shows the decision of the House, which is that we have resolved that the investigation against Her Excellency the Deputy Governor should commence, and that Mr. Speaker, in line with Section 188, subsection 5, will forward a letter to the Chief Judge of Rivers State calling on him to immediately set up a 7-man panel to begin investigations of these allegations against Her Excellency the Deputy Governor of Rivers State.
So now let me explain what that actually means if they succeed. Presently, Fubara's camp, they have managed to go and get an ex-parte order. Ex-parte order is just a temporary order to say don't do anything for now. If I don't act on any of this decision, or ex-parte order can really stop them. Then, if they succeed, and Fubara and his deputy, they are both impeached, the speaker will become the acting governor, and they will now compel the INEC to conduct another election in between 90 and 180 days. That is between 3 months and 6 months. So how smooth that is going to play out remains with the person who is pulling the string. The guys in the State House of Assembly are saying that Fubara is not kind of like innocent in a way, that it might be sounding like he's fighting his godfather, but the real problem is actually with them, that Fubara doesn't recognize them, it doesn't deal with them, it doesn't even pay them what is their constitutionally due, like payments. It doesn't. And all of these, they are infractions against the Constitution. But we all know the root cause, the genesis. So if Fubara is legitimately elected as governor of Rivers State, right? That's where you're going to see the people of Rivers State to say, no, we reject this, but he is not legitimately elected. in that sense, right? It makes the entire thing a mockery of what they call their democracy. It's all kind of like, So Wiki and his men they're counting days, counting time. But this afternoon, right? Federal High Court, is it? Or State High Court rather, in Port Harcourt, granted an ex-parte order, which does this copy on the screen, right? So they put on all the members and here is another thing I actually want to say before I even go into that. Wait. How many of you have ever wondered, like, this Fubara of a person, right? That let's assume that, or let's agree that with a wiki, they have plotted and put all these guys together. Out of 32 or 30, 32 House of Assembly members, right, is unable to actually win over at least half of them to his own side. I mean, to show that he's actually on ground. He is not, in this sense. It could have probably been on ground if he succeeded without the Supreme Court intervention at the time. Because if he had succeeded, by the way, there won't be these guys as House of Assembly members anymore. They will be gone because he actually said they were gone. That wasn't solid, right? So the local government, he nearly took that over as well, but today it doesn't have that. It doesn't have the status of assembly. So with what Tinubu has kind of like built for them or arranged there in that river state politically, Fubara is not that going to be that relevant. Anyone could play his role. Do you get what I mean now? The only way Fubara could actually be real relevant in any of this is that if the river state people actually turn out in their hundreds of thousands, like they just like picket everywhere, they will say, oh yeah, he's their governor. But that is not happening in River State, or maybe not yet. Anyway, so we don't know how the people are actually taking the impeachment, or they are just looking at it like it's part of this their face of nonsense. So it's probably never going to happen. But when this guy succeeds, or if this guy says succeed, right, in the next 2 weeks, Fubara may cease to be governor of River State. And as for the chief judge, this is the chief judge of River State, the man that is going to set up the panel, 7-man panel, to investigate Fubara. So the ex-parte order granted them today, which was to stop all of these guys, right, from going ahead to remove Fubara. And they got it, It's like it's hereby ordered as follows. And you need to understand what an ex-parte means. Ex-parte order is not a court judgment, so you get that now. It will expire. How many days is ex-parte order again? 7 days? Please remind me, those of you who are lawyers in the temple, how many days is the lifespan of an ex-parte order in a court? That's what I would just say. Don't do anything. Adeza is a lawyer. I think it's 21 days or 7 days or 30 days. So the point there is that it doesn't really hold anything. What it does is to buy time. And most of the time, people barely kind of like obey it, especially when it is politically sort of like factored or so. They won't obey it. And now the chief judge of River State, we are about to find out if he is on the side of a Fubara or not. Because this is the person legally that can legalize all of that action. If he put together that 7-man panel, now, this is something you need to also know, the process. If the chief judge put together the 7-man panel to investigate all the allegations against the Fubara, he is likely going to pick the people that are loyal to the cause. Likely. Please, remember that, all right? Likely going to pick, because this whole thing is not happening like, legally or so to say. Somebody is pulling the string. Everything is already factored. Everything is sorted. So if this chief judge is not on his side, then that is the man that is going to determine. But if you see the breaking news tomorrow that the chief judge of River State has appointed the 7-man panel, then that means Fubara is gone. And I don't think he will actually be able to even get back. If they impeach him as Rivers State governor, he is not coming back. Not like all those ones we've had that they went back to court and the court returned them, like Peter Obi and who else? Ladoja. And who else was also like impeached and the court returned him at the time. Wike is a member of, is a life bencher. That means he's a member of the judiciary for life until he dies. And that is one role or one useful role that is playing for Tinubu as well, more than just all the other noise that we see around where people, scream and sing around him. So the ex-parte order, which is like 3 of them. The first one is that an interim injunction is hereby made restraining the 32nd defendant. The 32nd defendant is the Chief Judge of Rivers State. So they are restraining him from receiving, forwarding, considering, and or howsoever acting on any request, resolution, articles of impeachment or other documents or communication from the 1st to the 27th. The 1st and 27th respondents are, the 4th and the 7th defendants in this case are the Speaker and all the House of Assembly members planning to impeach the governor, right? So then again, other documents from the 1st to 27th and 31st. So, defendant, for the purpose of constituting a panel to investigate the purported allegation of misconduct against the claimant, applicant, for 7 days. Ex-parte order is 7 days. Oh, see, don't do anything for 7 days. Oh, that doesn't mean that something is not going to happen. The second one is that leave is also granted to the claimant, which is Fubara and his deputy, the applicant, to serve this interim order, the originating processes, and all other subsequent process in this suit meant for the 1st to 31st defendants, to wit, by pasting the said processes at the gate of the Rivers State House of Assembly quarters, opposite former NDDC quarters, Aba Road, Port Harcourt, in Rivers State. And the third one, the third one is that this case stands adjourned until 23rd of January 2026 for motion given at Port Harcourt. So this is the interim ex-parte order for 7 days until the court can then hear the case. And what is the case? Fubara is saying that he's done nothing wrong and the court must stop the impeachment proceeding against him. I don't know how old some of us who are younger watching this broadcast are, right? But if you go back and read the lot of impeachments, people impeached or governors impeached in Nigeria, they are not impeached simply because they are corrupt. They were not impeached simply because they like incompetent and the rest of that alone. They were simply impeached because they went against whatever agreement they had with their godfathers at the time. Yes. If you remember Ladoja versus Adedibu, you remember? Yeah. Then you have Peter Obi, as well as the PDP controlled House of Assembly by the Chris Uba and the Ubas. Remember? The same guys who kidnapped Chris Ngige, the governor in Anambra State. So it's always about the disagreement between the political godfathers and their supposed beneficiary of such. So, that of Peter Obi is actually because the guy won't let the State House of Assembly get away with over-bloated budgets, renovation of government house, and some other stupid things. So they removed him for not approving the money. Anyway, so it's always about this interest. It's not about anything really legal or legit. Okay, so if Fubara and his godfather managed to twist themselves, the next 2 weeks may actually really, it may, something about them is that it may even happen before 2 weeks. Depends on how desperate they want this done, right? So the last time Wiki was in Rivers before he returned back to Abuja, he sprayed singers on the streets. River State. Somebody mentioned Fayose. That's true. Fayose was a thief. And at the same time, if you know the story of how Fayose became governor of Ekiti State, yeah, and the sweep of the southwest region by Obasanjo at the time, and yeah, when Obasanjo later found out that Fayose was actually a crook, like Fayose was actually a real crook, confirmed crook. But we are not talking about Fayose tonight. So it was Obasanjo, when Obasanjo visited him in Ekiti, right? Fayose was commissioning a new poultry project. It was supposed to be the biggest state-owned poultry project of that era. That was what the advert said. So they invited Obasanjo to come and commission it. So when Obasanjo got to each section, first, I think he got to the areas where they had their cows. It felt like this sun doesn't look like a place. This doesn't look like this is where they raise these cows. Like, he got to the place where they were raising the pigs. Same thing. It was like, why are those pigs look so clean and, okay. Then he got to the place where they had the chickens, the poultry, right? When he finally got to the poultry side, the biggest. And he was there for like about 15, 20 minutes. Obasanjo is a farmer himself, right? So he was like, Ayo, I want to Benny. A question like, are your own chickens, do your own chickens not excrete anything at all? They know they cheat. They know they cheat. That was the end of the tour. That was the end of the state visit. From there, Obasanjo left for the airport and boom, back to Abuja. That was the beginning of the end of Fayose at the time. So what happened after? Obasanjo discovered that there is actually even more other fraudulent projects. What did Fayose did? Fayose went to Ibadan, right? He went to Ibadan where there were poultries, like big, massive poultry, private-owned poultries. He rented their chicken, rented cages, rented animals, rented all these things, and they transported them to Ekiti. Yeah, that's what Fayose did. And immediately after the whole thing, they returned all of the chicken back to the owners and all that. And they were supposed to be the Ekiti State government poultry projects, billions of naira. So Obasanjo was so mad. He was so mad because Fayose then was like very young. He was very young as a governor, a PDP governor, that they schemed him, they rigged him in Ekiti as well. Even though he kind of like was popular, no doubt, too, when he was giving them free water. Fayose a criminal. Fayose returned back to Nigeria and he started sharing water. He started sharing water to people. Ekiti people had no water. So what did Fayose did? They went all these water tankers, all these trucks, all those Bedford old trucks, selling all these water tankers. So Fayose will now give them money to go and get water and distribute it to every community. Do you get that now? They didn't buy any tanker or anything. No. You just give them money and say, how much is your tanker? They say, it's 500 naira, 500 naira. You take 3,000 naira. Go and supply 6 trucks of water to this community. So he kept doing that. So it became very popular. So when Obasanjo was so kind of like enraged about the whole scam, you know what he did? They went to Ekiti State, EFCC went to Ekiti State. They rounded up all the State House of Assembly members. They took them to Abuja. I don't know if they tortured them or they threatened them, or I don't know. They told them they are all going to jail. Hey, Obasanjo, madman. That's why he did this same your democracy. They took all of them to Abuja. They spent 2 nights in Abuja. When they returned them back to Ekiti, it was EFCC boss they use EFCC buses to bus them to Ekiti, straight to Ekiti government house. EFCC were like this. Speaker, House of Assembly member, all of them, they sat from airport to Ekiti, State House of Assembly. They monitored them. That was when they impeached Fayose. And I'm talking about this were like praise singers, house members who are like licking the feet of Fayose. But when Obasanjo was interested, that's what happened. So Fayose had to run away. He hid in the boot, in the trunk of a Mercedes-Benz car in the government house, a marked car. So the governor of the state, he hid inside the trunk of the car. They drove him like that to Ibadan. That was how he got there. That was how he escaped. They now declared him wanted. Drama don't happen for that country. Today, that Fayose is being called a leader. He's on TV in Nigeria, talking about politics, talking about leadership, talking about party this and that. Crazy stuff. Sorry for that little deviation, okay? So, whatever you are witnessing in Rivers State today, don't ever look at it from this logical lens of, oh, this one is legal, this is not. No. You can wake up tomorrow and they will tell you that, you know what, the panel is in place. Fubara may say it's not going to appear before them. 3-4 days later, they will say the panel has indicted him. Boom. Before you know it, the entire River State is going to be filled with military, police all over the place, trucks, everything. Now we're going to wonder, say, Tinubu will allow me to remove Fubara. Fubara's role can be played by anyone. You need to understand that. You see, anyone they put there tomorrow, did you not see them when they gave them a sole administrator? The old complaints and noise only lasted for how many days or how many weeks? After that, did people not find their way to go and look for favor in the hands of the sole administrator? That's what will happen in this instance. But yeah, we keep putting it in the diary. See? And another election is coming. The same process is going to produce the same crop of, characters who are going to occupy all these important positions, making these important decisions. And whenever there are political differences, sort of like clashes, right? The people are those who are going to suffer it, the victims in the end. Those who were in power yesterday, who lorded over us like they were the lord of the manor, right? Which I think they were. Because they felt on top of the world, and just like those who are dead today, as they are doing, 8 years, we will do our 8 years, nothing will happen. Those who were there yesterday were also told to do the right thing, because if Goodluck Egbere Jolantan was like them, right, there will never be APC. Like the usual permutations and all of that stuff. There won't be APC. Because you see that idea of doing his own electoral reforms in 2014, 2015, actually changed the game, only for the APC to come in and destroy all of that. Why was that? Somebody is trying to now tell us why Bokohari couldn't sign electoral reform, which would have ordinarily ushered in a free and fair election in Nigeria. So those who benefited from that are now in power. And those who failed to do the right thing, they are now out of power. They want to go back to power. They want to get into power again. So they are promising, asking the ones who are currently benefiting from the failed system, in a way, the faulty system. Right? So they are like asking them to do electoral reform. Doing electoral reform by these guys is like signing your own political death warrant, so to say. Rothiefmi Amaechi, they will be my Judas Iscariot. He's been very vocal lately, by the way, because he's also running for president. And he's also willing to do one term. Remember, he's the guy who came second to Tinubu in their APC primaries in 2023. So he's not a pushover. So here he is, trying to explain to us why Bokohari couldn't do electoral reform and Tinubu won't do it. And the cycle continues, like a hopeless situation. Watch this.
So a lot of people have said that I'm no longer talking. The more you talk, the more you reveal your strategy. So that's what you're going to do here now. Everything you said was in my head. If you ask those who meet with me, they will tell you that I have been having meetings and talking with them about the possibility of winning the 2027 election. The problem with election in Nigeria is that there is no incumbent government that can achieve electoral reform. None. Buhari tried it and failed. In fact, National Assembly passed the law and dropped on his table. And the man held his pen to sign. I know those who came to him and said, oh, no, don't try this. Russia will rig the election. They will hack the election. And I wish I were there. I would have told him that everything has an antidote. So if there's a Russia, there's an America. But once they told him that, and that was 2020, it first started from 2019, they convinced him not to. So he did not. By 2023, he was determined, very determined. He said that is the only legacy he wants to leave for Nigeria. So when they brought it, that's why you can see that the National Assembly members, past and present, were not automatic delegates. Because he reached an agreement with them to go and make amendments and bring back. They said no, that he should sign first. That once he signs, they will go and make the amendment and come back. So he signed. When they got to the National Assembly, they did not come back. By the time they realized that they had omitted people like us who were automatic delegates by being a former speaker, and they wanted to include it, when they brought it, Buhari refused. He refused to sign. That's because he wanted electoral reform. And National Assembly actually passed it, but people around him made sure he did not sign that into law and got what they wanted. Now, those same people are back here. Here, this side I am, or where we are now, shouting electoral reform, electoral reform. So you see this crowd. If tomorrow you wake up and Tinubu is no longer the president, and then you become part of government, Tinubu will be here now shouting electoral reform. The problem with Nigeria is what? Nigeria. There is no other, it's not even the elites. Like I said before, how many elites are there actually that you cannot overcome? Now, I tell the opposition party that you're the problem. We're discussing it here. The opposition party is not discussing how to save Nigeria, how to win the next election. I'm from North, I have the votes. I'm from South, it's our turn. Nobody's saying, oh, things are bad. How do we change the candidate? Do you want to do one term or not one term? That's all. Nothing else is discussed. So, while the elites are busy discussing how to get to power, what is happening? The voters, the citizens, are helping the elites to achieve that objective. I saw a video of people collecting money to vote in Anambra. That's not much of a problem. How much do they have? There are 270 million Nigerians according to the United Nations. How much do they have to give 270 million Nigerians? So that's not the problem. The problem actually is in the writing of result, which is done actually in the north, mostly in south and southeast. You know, when they say Tinubu is invisible, I say he's the most vulnerable presidential candidate you can face. Don't forget that I ran Buhari's campaign. How many of you can tell me one feature, the greatest feature we had in Buhari's campaign? How many? People were not observant. We made it difficult for any Nigerian governor to go to his state and come out freely. Any day Buhari is coming to any state, the governor is on the run because the madness of the citizens chased them away. We got to Bauchi. The aircraft we took to Bauchi, the wing was damaged. They were looking for Buhari. They jumped on top of the wing. I recently wanted to push Buhari out of the plane to save the plane because it was a River State government plane. In Jos, 2015, I realized that Buhari was the problem. I had to step back because they were attacking us. When I stepped back, I was safe. Buhari was fighting for himself, no police, nothing, until he got into the bus. Why? we mobilize Nigerians to know that if they rigged us out, war. If you rig us out, you rig problem. I hear the story of good luck is not, Jagaban is not good luck. We did not care who. As far as we are concerned, they are going to rig the election. So show them that there will be what? Fire. And the whole world knew there would be fire. There's a video people are showing around. Amaechi them went to America. I never went to any America. That was here in Lagos. Lagos, I was in the meeting. American government without anybody petitioning to them. Who are they? Who are they God? So a lot of people have said that.
He's talking rubbish. Those are the kind of stupid stories they love to reminisce on. When we went to people who are like so and so to us. So what did Bokohari use in rewarding all of that? How did Bokohari rewarded Nigeria? How did he reward Nigerians? With all of what he just described. He left them in abject poverty. He left the country in the hands of the ravaging terrorists. And at the same time, they wrecked the economy of the country. They looted the country like tomorrow, no day. Those who are like, those he claimed were around there, Bokohari, most of them now, well, they are standing trial for corruption. And they are claiming that it is because they are not supporting Tinubu. So how did they reward all of these? Are the stories. So they rode on the people's vulnerability at the time, right, to power. And how did they reward them? How many Nigerians lost their lives in the hands of the terrorist political party called the APC in the last 10 years, in the 8 years of Bokohari? So now they are counting on you to get rid of Tinubu. So he's talking tough. I like the part where he said that it was so strong enough that they believed that they couldn't rig them out. So if you try to rig them, it's going to be war. Yeah, he's giving himself that what you call that accolade, so to say. So what are they going to tell you now that is probably going to make you go toe to toe with the Tinubu and his rigging machine, and for their own sake? Same set of, shall you say? Let him tell us. He continued.
Are they God? After the president, no other person. So how can I petition the American government? What would they do? But American government came here after speaking to other countries. What they come to do? Good luck, don't rig. If you rig, we will not recognize you. Opposition, if you visit violence, we will not recognize you. So they went to the president and told the president their mind. We are here for free and fair election. Please don't rig. Opposition, if you dare try violence, this is our response to it. But Nigerians say, oh, we went for Christian genocide. We went to report Good Luck. We report him. Do you report the president? The only place you can report a president is either the National Assembly or God. Not America. But you're circulating. Oh, we went to America. We went to America. To do what? I was chairman of Governors Forum, so I was invited to the meeting. And they told us clearly they wanted a free and fair election. And that was one of the freest elections we've ever had in Nigeria. Were there problems? Of course. So it depends on how prepared the opposition and the people are. If you mobilize the people, if you make them know that today there will be madness, they will all be mad. Ask PDP now. Could they campaign in Kano? They couldn't. When they went there, what did they hear? Bamaso, Bamaso. What is Bamaso in Hausa? We don't agree. We don't want you. Because we had mobilized Nigerians. What about Bauchi? When they got into Bauchi and they left, Emir couldn't go anywhere. The people said he must wait until we come. I got a call and they said, look, we must go to Bauchi now so that the Emirates can be free. We had to alter our program to go to Bauchi. Who watched us in Borno? I was scared stiff because of Boko Haram. And we had planned not to go to Borno. We got to Borno as they were shooting, if we were going. Who was shooting? The military. To scare them. Instead of people to run back, they were running towards the gun. In fact, one of my friends told me that they were saying, this is AK-47. No, this is not strong. The other one is machine gun. So they knew the sound of guns and they didn't care. So the first solution to electoral reform is not the government. Government won't give you electoral reform. The first solution to electoral reform is what? The people. Don't be shouting electoral reform, electoral reform. You're the problem. The more you say they have written the result, the more you have voter apathy. Voter apathy will make Tinubu return to Villa. To 30%, 30%, and your president, that's arrant nonsense. In the country of 200 and something million. So tell the people the power is in your hands. Come out. If Tinubu is that invisible, how was he defeated in Lagos? I was told how he was defeated. The Christian churches, the churches, invited everybody for a night vigil. Right? The Igbos and the indigenous. All they did was sit down there. As you finish voting, they are there. Where is the result sheet? Electoral personnel knew that result sheet, absence of result sheet will be war. So there was result sheet right there. You have finished? Say yes. Announce the result. You announce it. Upload it. You upload it. They escort you. Since you want collation, they will escort you. APC men were on the run in Lagos because they were ready for war. It was after the presidential election that they gave up on the governorship. But they won Lagos. It can be repeated. But first and foremost, you must agree that the man there is not invisible. I don't see him as invisible. The problem is the opposition. I can do one term. I can't do one term. I'm from the north. I'm not from the north. I'm south. It's our turn. No. Get the best material that can govern the country. Not that can. There are two materials you must look for. The problem is we have no qualification for any politician. It is an all-comers game. So if you say you want a president, make sure the president is qualified to run the election. What's the first qualification? That he must change the country when he becomes president. What's the second one? He must have the capacity to say, I will be mad with you. Since election, all of us go die. The moment the other party sees it, that's what we did in APC. We made sure PDP knew that we were former members of PDP and we knew what they do to win election. If you try it with us, we'll balance it. May God bless you.
So they needed somebody who is like rough and ready to tell APC that we'll die there. No, we'll get to that one. But Oshiomole is not convinced. It was somewhere a few days ago. Okay, this is now like old clip, okay? I just thought it's relevant to this conversation, all right? So Oshiomole was somewhere where Adiza was doing her 50th birthday. Okay? Adiza was the lady that was appointed in charge of the Nigerian Port Authority. And they were all there to kind of like praise her, blah, blah, blah. Then Oshiomole now referenced Rothiefmi Amaechi. That Amaechi is telling everybody that he's hungry today. Thank you, Jare Adiza. You have made them hungry now, something like that. Mocking the same guy because they were together before, by the way, right? Oshiomole.
I was very privileged, which is why I feel always indebted to you, because the reason all of us must strive to do good and make name is that so that our children, even if we don't get the benefit, our children will get the benefit. When you were appointed as MD of MPA, So people with bad belly who were drunk with power, they tried to rubbish you without knowing your background, and you fought back. They try, if they have their way, if there was anything they could enact, they wanted to rubbish your family name. But in the end, they have rubbished themselves. And right now, they are hungry. That hunger, even as they had a pot belly, that hunger is lacking the capacity to misuse power, to oppress even the best collection among us. So the day I hear that those who were so powerful yesterday are now hungry, I say, may this hunger remain until they return to their creator. And look at it. Today you are here, you have the honor of Nigeria Vice President be in attendance to celebrate your birthday. Can you expect more? Why those who want to rubbish you remain in hunger? And after some time, they will be starving. You have the secretary to government, you have the chief of staff. Are they we anonymous? So this is the reward of listening and imbibing the best.
Nuisance Lele.
That's Adam's Adamu Shiomole. But is that the way the ADC guys are seeing it? Of course not. Presently, right, it is believed that PDP is a shadow of its former self, so compromised enough that even their governors are being suspected to be planning to go and join ADC. Well, have you heard that, right? Bauchi governor is likely going to go and join ADC. Soloma Kimbe Ibadan is likely going to go and join ADC as well. And few others too. Don't take my word for it. Just kind of like hear it like I heard it somewhere. Or Mayegu mentioned it. So that when it comes to pass, right, you won't get freaked out like, oh my God, you know. Because it seems that they are being positioned to go and be the main opposition party that is feared enough to face Kolu in 2027. So their spokesperson is Bolaji Abdullahi. Okay. So he was with the Shehu earlier, I think, this evening, right? And it was like, they are getting there. They started in July 2025, and they believe that some of the big wigs that are joining them, the ones others are calling the relics, the dredge, okay, the spent forces, which are practically trying to leverage on the Peter Obi's obedient and other stuff, all those allegations, okay? So here is what Bolaji Abdullahi had to say in their preparation to be the main opposition to Kolu and unseating him. For us in our studio. Thank you so much, Malam Abdullahi, for joining us now.
Thank you very much.
It's good to see you.
Happy New Year.
Same to you. It's good to see you. What a year! What a year it's been, 2025. It saw the alliances and some heavyweights coming together under the umbrella of the ADC, and it's seen someone like you who's been a former minister and who is a former governorship aspirant in your state coming to now speaking for the ruling, for the major opposition party now. I'm saying major opposition party now because suddenly the ADC seems to be a party to look out for. The PDP is falling apart. The Labour Party seems to not to find its feet, but the ADC seems to have had all of the major players from all of the opposition parties come under one umbrella. But in all of this, we've seen Dele Momodu also, interestingly, from Benin City, declared his, and you saw, interestingly, perhaps the first national chairman of the APC, Chief John Odege Yegon, receiving Dele Momodu in the ADC, into the ADC. Interesting times indeed. But how do you summarize the year 2025? I'm looking forward to 2026.
Well, thank you very much. 2025 was a very good year for us. It was a foundational year, as it were. When we started in July last year, in July of 2025, not many people thought we could go far The ruling party itself dismissed us. They said, oh, these are just aggrieved people, and the coalition will collapse even before it had the chance to take off. And look at all the big men in their ranks. They're going to start fighting over who gets what. But 7 months after, in 2026, here we are, getting stronger than before. Look, I'm very confident that if you gather political scientists to study the trajectory of political party development, they will probably tell you that ADC has one of the fastest growth in Nigerian political history. And the reason is not far-fetched. You mentioned all these different people joining our party and all. The reason is very clear. It is clear to everyone today there is only one option. The possibility of Nigerians having to continue with what the current APC government is doing under President Bola Tinubu is too scary to contemplate in terms of what has happened to the lives and livelihood of Nigerians, in terms of what has happened to the image and reputation of this country, in terms of what has happened to the status of Nigeria as a leader of the black race the world over. Every Nigerian today who knows what Nigeria should be, what Nigeria used to represent in the past, and where we are today, will not want what is going on to continue. So all these people you see joining our parties, these big wigs and political heavyweights, are also telling themselves that what is at stake is bigger than my individual ambition.
And this is not all about grabbing power for us in our studio.
We're not trying to grab power. We're just trying to rescue Nigeria, because the way Nigeria is going under this Tinubu and others, right? If we don't act and save Nigeria, there will be no Nigeria again. Our politicians, man. And it's sort of like makes somebody like me wonder sometimes, that these politicians who put so much effort into getting into power, like taking power, they will do a lot. They will do propaganda, they will do lies, they will do bribery, they will do violence, they will do all things, including killing people. Then they get the power, only for them to become so clueless, because they will be more interested in themselves, the interest of the people that they are using, that all these sweet talks, right? I don't know how that kind of like work easier. And the reason is this, why it works for them is because there is no consequences for betraying the people whenever they manage to win their trust. Several of them who have had the opportunity in the past, they've given the people the middle fingers, right? They've left people up so much. They've left people worse off than they were before they got into that power. But yeah, it's the opposition. So this is why he said they stand the chance of dethroning Tinubu. There is more. Yeah.
For us,
our president should be here. Ministers should be doing those kind of jobs. 3 years after, we don't even have ambassador. They said they submitted some names sometimes ago, last year, that the National Assembly has cleared. Up till now, they have not posted a single one of them. And let me tell you, if they post them today, before they get their letter of credence, maybe end of 2026, before they resume formally and are able to function as ambassador, especially in first-class missions in the world, because the receiving countries will still have to vet them and agree that they are receiving them. Then before they issue them agreement and before they begin to function. All that has not happened. And this is why our president have to outsource diplomatic function and pay $9 million to a lobbyist, a lobbying firm, to do public relations for us. Where Nigerians should be in the room talking for Nigeria, is you have to hire people to
How do you encapsulate or summarize your own assessment of the Tinubu-led government over the last 2 years or more?
There's too much incompetence in the government. I don't know why.
In the government or
yes,
in the presidency?
In the government. No. I mean, the president is competent. I'm not saying he's not competent. Individually, if you see him, you know he knows what. So, but there's too much incompetence.
How can a competent leader lead an incompetent government. Is that not contradictory?
No. You have the impression that he's overwhelmed.
Really?
You have the impression that...
But this is the man who says, I asked for it, I fought for it, I got it, blame me for whatever has happened. The president says he's up to the task.
We are blaming him.
But how can the president be overwhelmed when he says, this is the job that I asked for and I'm the one, the buck stopped on my table, on my desk. That's what the president has said over and over again. How can he be overwhelmed?
This president is very competent in one thing. He's a very competent politician. And everything you see him say reflects that. He's a very competent politician, no doubt about that.
What about being a competent leader?
I'm not sure of. Because we can only judge by the evidence. A leader is primarily an empathetic person. It's someone that wakes up in the morning and think about the people. How are they feeling? When you think that there are policies you need to pursue, you ask yourself, these policies that I'm pursuing, how is it going to affect the life of an ordinary citizen under me? When someone dies in your country, you feel personally responsible that you have failed that individual because your primary job is to protect that person. But we don't see that.
But how do you describe
We don't see that.
Is our cup half full or half empty?
I'm not even sure we have a cup. That's the point I'm making.
The government says, look, that we have had a disastrous run. And
they've agreed that they've had a disastrous
they don't know in the past. And they are coming on board to fix things, albeit a very difficult task of the revolutionary and reformist policy tendencies that they brought on board. And this is going to cause some immediate pain, which is going to be relieved after a time when these policies get into place. And you can see some very fantastic human beings like Wale Edun, the Minister of the Economy, you see, very erudite members of the cabinet that have a very strong profile, not only locally, but internationally, who are at the helm of affairs, people with integrity. But in all of this, the preaching that we've gotten from this government is that things might be tough, but it will get better. Have we been impatient with this government?
They have 4 years. They have 4 years. The Constitution of Nigeria provides for a 4-year tenure. There's nothing that guarantees that you will get another 4 years. What the Constitution provides for is a 4-year tenure. So whatever you are not able to do in 4 years, then you have not done. And that is why we have institutions to carry on whenever you stop. But what we are saying is that in 3 years out of 4, we have not seen anything that this administration has done that will give us confidence that the country is moving in the right direction.
I asked you that question, very much with a lot. With a lot of reasons why I asked the question, whether or not our cup is half empty or half full. And I'm very certain that you have embarked on house building projects. And you know the pains, and those who understand these knows that when you are building the foundation, it takes a long. In fact, if you're spending and giving the builder money to construct the foundation, you'll be worried whether they're stealing your money, because it does look like nothing is showing up. But when you start building the blocks, it goes up on you get to the lintel. And when you get to the lintel, the work slows down again because you start building the concrete. And now the question I'm asking is that, is it a facade that we're seeing, or the real foundation that this government said he wants to build? Because over the years, things have been messed up, and things are, without wanting to use a dirty language, that we're in a mess.
Sure. Maybe some of that $9 million should be paid to you, because you seem to be doing a good job.
No, because I speak to both parties. I speak to opposition, and I speak to ruling party. Because we, as Nigerians, we need to, where things are good, we need to say where they are bad.
But you tell me one thing that they have done that is good. If President Bola Tinubu will be campaigning to Nigerians today, tell me one thing that they will say, oh, Nigerians, I have done this. This is a president that said, if after 2 years I don't give you electricity, don't vote for me.
So you think that this government is an absolute failure?
He said it. The president said it.
I'm saying that generally speaking, you think that the Tinubu government has been an absolute failure?
Nigerians have agreed that this government has failed. It is a consensus. And we in the opposition know that the the responsibility that we have is to convince Nigerians that we can do better, that we have alternative ideas.
All right.
But the question of whether this administration has failed, that's a foregone conclusion.
That this government is failed?
Oh, it's a foregone conclusion.
Now,
our president should be...
Don't let any more show. That's enough. So are Nigerians saying that Tinubu has failed? Yes, they are. But there are also Nigerians who are telling you that he's done so well. The Ronukus, for example, who are more concerned about what the opposition is doing. You know, they're like, even if Tinubu has failed, right? It is not in the place of the Atiku, El-Rufai, and others to say they want to now rescue Nigeria. But there is a Ronuku that is trending this afternoon, who I believe stated his own point, like he kind of like shared his own point, but he's a Tinubu supporter. So that's what makes it a little bit cringy, right? It's weird, right? Because you can't be a Tinubu supporter in this day and time, except that we know, you know, like you cannot shame the shameless in this regard. So they are very good in gaslighting people, like, you know, all of that, trying to whip up a sentiment, you know, sentiments that eventually make Tinubu not that bad. They will agree with you that, well, this boy is not that bad, or they will find somebody else to blame, right? But this level of rant of a Ronuku, I want to share it with you. He's a young guy.
After individual efforts to destroy Nigeria, crumble our economy, and put the life of Nigerians into unpalatable situations, now you are coming together to put collective efforts to ensure you destroy Nigeria finally. Imagine a coalition with Rauf Aregbesola, a man whose tenure as governor was characterized by non-payment of salaries, owing civil servants up to 36 months, with a lot of abandoned projects. Now you are coming to say you want to save the same Nigerians? During his time as Minister for Interior, we had a lot of prison break, and even to get international passport, it will cost you several months with a lot of lobby. But now with the new Minister for Interior, I got my international passport in just 2 weeks with no extra charges, with no lobby. And now you are coming to form a coalition against the government that has brought this into place. You should be ashamed of yourself. Or a Dino Milaye, who after many years of being a senator, all he can show to the people of Kogi West as his achievement is the exotic cars in his car garage. No wonder the people of Kogi West rejected him in the last election. Someone who could not even deliver his own local government for himself. And you are now coming out to form a coalition. Imagine a Nasir El-Rufai and a Rothiefmi Amaechi in a coalition. People who were not fit to be in President Tinubu's cabinet because of their terrible track record. A Nasir El-Rufai who, when he was governor, the people of Kaduna could not sleep with their 2 eyes closed because of insecurity. Today is banditry, tomorrow kidnapping. People were losing their lives and properties when you were governor of that state, and you are now coming back to form a coalition. Or a Rothiefmi Amaechi who, when he was minister, ran Nigeria into debt, borrowing with no project to show forth. Your wife receives 4 billion naira on behalf of the people of the Niger Delta, yet there's no contribution to better the lives of these people. Rothiefmi Amaechi should deal with the corruption in his house before saying he wants to save Nigerians. Rothiefmi Amaechi and Nasir El-Rufai could not make it to President Tinubu's cabinet because they lack integrity and competence. Addressing the division in the coalition, now the articulates are saying Atiku has to be president while Obi settles for vice. The obedience are also saying Obi has to be president while whoever settles for vice. But with this kind of coalition, I can tell you categorically that whoever goes first, Atiku for president or Obi for president, you are only trying to build Nigeria on a faulty foundation. Atiku that after 8 years of being vice president, his boss Obasanjo said that if he should approve Atiku's presidency, even God will not forgive him. That Atiku is such a thief. In fact, like this, the money Atiku stole from Nigerian government is enough to feed the entire population of Nigeria, the entire Nigerian population for the next 20 years. Imagine say we just wake up for money, they just serve everybody for the whole of Nigeria. Everybody, over 200 million population, they first serve all of us bread and egg. Afternoon time reach, they serve us pounded yam or bread and beans as you like it. And night reach, they just give us noodles, say something light for the night, and we continue to do am like that every day for the next 20 years. That is how much Atiku has stolen from Nigeria. Or is it to be a man that is very clueless, very deceitful, and has no conviction? One moment he's saying this, the next moment he's contradicting what he just said. No wonder he said even his own children, when he promises them, they will say, Daddy, write it down, because we know tomorrow you will change mouth. A man that after being governor for 8 years in Anambra, his biggest achievement, his biggest bragging right is that he left money in Anambra coffers, a state that needed many financial intervention. You chose to keep the money in the bank, starving the people. You were getting interest off those monies in the bank, and you left the people stranded. Even with the coalition, Obi is still playing games. He has not resigned from Labour Party, yet he's forming coalition. Should the coalition not favor him, he will bounce back to Labour Party. Should the coalition favor him, he will cut off Labour Party. Can you imagine? Now, let's even imagine that Obi becomes president with the support of this coalition. Let's imagine that. Now, you want to become president with the support of an Atiku that has spent millions of dollars trying to become Nigerian president. Now, you are wanting him to spend more to make you president. Should you imagine? Where will he get all his monies back from? Is it not from the same government? How do you expect to survive leadership with that kind of support? Or Rothiefmi Amaechi and Nasiru El-Rufai that could not make it to President Tinubu's cabinet because of their incompetence and their lack of credibility. Now they are giving you support. And should you imagine with their support, how do you compensate them? Is it not from the same Nigerian government? You would have to settle them from the Nigerian pocket. Oh, you want to crumble this economy that this current administration is struggling to revive? You want to send us back because of your desperation to become president? You can never succeed as a president if you surround yourself with thieves, incompetent people, and mediocres. Nigerians, shine your eyes. Read.
Nuisance lele. Nuisance lele.
So those are the people called the data boys, the Ronukus, right? They are very, very duplicitous and cunning. Somebody where they calculate, where they mention Atiku, a thief, El-Rufai, this, and then the black Amaechi. They are the same people with Batawale, somebody who is indicted, not just by government, is indicted even by terrorists themselves as a terrorist sponsor. Is in Tinubu's government. Abacha Bagman, the guy that, Bagudu, the guy that, stole, should I say stolen or no? The guy that was in charge of the looted Abacha money, so the Abacha loot, billions of dollars looted by Abacha from Nigeria. So he happened to be one of those who get to know where the money was. So he got a deal where whenever he decided to release any of the Abacha loot, they will give him percentage, I think 10% or 20% or something. So, I mean, Tinubu himself, the druggie, right? I said I would stop saying that though, for a reason. I can't, because it's true. So when the Ronuku start pointing fingers like this, right, just pay attention very well, okay? You realize that the majority of the other fingers are pointing at, pointing at him, and they don't care. They have no shame in that regard. So if you are not on their side, you are coming to ruin Nigeria. These are the people who defended Bokohari for 8 years. And right now, they are doing everything to make that Bokohari's 8 years like it never really existed, okay? Except when they feel like the northern Nigeria is coming for Tinubu, then they will start talking about the loot, the crimes, and how Bokohari destroyed Nigeria. Very, very duplicitous rogues, okay? Well, let's leave that. On the other hand, though, okay, Shimu was talking about half cup. Is our cup half full or half empty? And Bolaji Abdullahi said, you actually have no cup. If you come to think of it, before you can even start talking of whether it is half full or half empty, the situation you have right now in that contraption is worse than what some people can imagine. But the cope system, the cope mentality of the people where they can feel like as much as it's not really affecting me directly, or I can still manage, then maybe it's not that severe. You have no cup. It's been stolen. They've taken everything from you. Everything else is just probably like seeking your blood, right? But yeah, everything is still left to people as well to decide. They say, I'm talking about Obi. Yesterday, Shegun Shomi, who I don't know if he's APC or if he's PDP, he paraded himself as one of the PDP stalwarts, though, right? He worked with Atiku in 2023, but right now you have no idea whether he's with Kolu or he's with Atiku or he's still in PDP. So he has this to say about Obi and their 2027. A lot of them have been saying that, too, like what happened in 2023 is never going to happen again. Don't be deceived. Obi's wave of 2023 was just like a fluke. Right now, Tinubu has covered ground so much that, for example, in the eastern part of Nigeria, the Igbo governors are on board with a call, and this time around they are on board to deliver at the eastern part of Nigeria to call his own presentation.
But those who think that the most dangerous opposition that Bola Tinubu could get and the APC in 2027 is Peter Obi.
No, man. Look, you see, in 2023, the people who were sitting in authority at governor's level in the southeast, they were not that inspirational. You have to go back and look at the people that are sitting there now. Some of those leaders are delivering on value and they're delivering on assignment. They are inspirational leaders. None of those people can Peter run over like that. It's not as easy as that.
So Peter may not be able to get the figures.
Let me just
he got over 90% in the whole of South.
Let me land my thought. We created that movement, albeit at the back end, believing that we should be able to thaw the glass ceiling so that our Southeastern brothers can know that we can get this done. Unfortunately, his inability to tame the excessive bigotry and the anger and the quarrels and all of his people has kind of like made a lot of people have a bit of a pushback. Hey, we'll see. They're going to have to count the votes. They're going to have to count the primary. And if you remember 2015, before they would do the primaries that they did in Lagos, you can always sometimes imagine that some people can pull an offset. If you remember the primary of 2023, Rothiefmi Amaechi came second. Never mind that the vice presidential candidate was also on that. So I've not spoken to Rothiefmi that much. But you know these things, I love to do it. So you go sort whatever.
So again, somebody who also have no real electoral value, but they've managed to get themselves into the national politics as national data boys too, you know, they're like men for hire, sort of like mouth for hire, so to say. So right now everybody is freelancing, trying to see where the pendulum will swing, and then I see which side they are going to pitch their tent 2027. So everybody is going to be dropping their own think pieces everywhere. This is what I think. This is, some will be speaking with some level of authorities, like, anyway. Atiku's son, Abba, also joined the Tinubu's camp today, which also made the news, by the way, you know, Atiku's son. And they said the guy is playing chess. You get, like, if he works for Tinubu as he's working for Tinubu, so if Tinubu gets his second term, the young man will, you know, will enjoy whatever the largest that comes from that adventure. If Tinubu loses, and Atiku becomes the ADC candidate and he becomes your president, so the boy will still be the president's son. That's what some people are kind of like interpreting it as online. But this crucial time, right, you would probably think everybody should, at this point, you know, follow their pops. But Atiku put out a statement and said, my son is an adult. He could decide wherever he wants or whatever he wants. And I'm not going to be in his way. So, Abba.
Ushering and directing all coordinators from our association to join the APC and work with President Tinubu. Thank you.
He said Abba now. So his name is Abba Atiku. Everything is cooking, like, you know, forming together on their road there to their 2027. Why Kolu is still away? You know, Kolu is still in Abu Dhabi. And Shitty Man has been very much like representing him in and outside Nigeria. That's not what we're going to talk about next. It's about the Armed Forces Remembrance Day that happened yesterday. I've seen quite a lot of videos of some of what transpired. I shared some yesterday, by the way, but there is one I didn't, but I found later. It is the presence of the retired Nigerian soldiers who were fighting for food right there at the venue of the Remembrance Day 2026. Army Remembrance Day, Military Remembrance Day. Okay. Army Remembrance Day 2026. Take a look at the retired soldiers.
We are just managing because the team was supposed to give us, they didn't give us. Yes, sir. We went to Brekete family for so many time. They were carried us to pension office. They said we should wait. Bokohari will sign it. After Bokohari, Tinubu will sign it. Up to now, we didn't get anything.
People will fight for Nigeria, led for Nigeria. Some of them, they have lifetime injuries, you get, like permanent disability, right? And yet, when you finally retire, what are you going to get? They had to fight for food at the venue of the military or army Remembrance Day. And they did the same. They have the Remembrance Day ceremony across the 36 states of Nigeria as well, not just Abuja. You know, state governors also did their own march past and the rest. There is one that is currently trending, right, where a governor of a state in northern part of Nigeria was also observing the guard of honor, you know, where the military will do the guard of honor for a VIP. But this time he wasn't observing the guard of honor of the regular military formation or military sort of, right? It was being introduced to some of the injured Nigerian soldiers. There is one that has got a lot of people talking. Watch this one.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do this thing now for him. Find out how much is it. Original one. Yeah. Okay, you know. Yeah. Okay. Oh, no problem. Just know the cost implication. I will give the
So normally, right, the amputee soldier need prosthetic hand, you know, this controlled one, right? But the other soldier is a man. That's what that guy was saying, telling the governor. He's a man, but he's already changing to a woman. So he needs operation to go back being a man. And that has thrown the social media into this frenzy. I'm not going to participate in that frenzy, right? So in Lagos, I shared with you, I think it was 2 days ago, when the Lagos state government, even though they denied it, right? Lagos state government was busy demolishing the properties of the people in Jakonde Estate in Lagos. And the demolition, similar to the ones we have witnessed in the last, in 2025, or this horrible ones, demolition in the middle of the night, rejecting of almost of government approved documents, and yeah, land grabbing, to be precise, is what is going on. Some of them took to Alausa today to go and protest that, like others, so like Oronshoki people. The Jakonde Estate people are now protesting because they have been turned to homeless. In Lagos. Okay. don't think that's Yoruba. I think that's Eku or so they are speaking, right? Yeah, they were there to protest the illegal demolition of their properties and without compensation whatsoever. So that's the modus operandi, isn't it? It is. Now let's leave that. And while I was taking my leave, I caught this street of Lagos. They said this is what Lagos can turn you into, and it's always going to be like a gradual, you know. You know, Lagos can slowly, but surely turn you into that, you know, like a raging combatant on the road, simply because everybody is managing their frustration, I would say, until you can't. And then you can be a gentleman in Lagos. Not really. That's the first part of the video. But in the eastern part of Nigeria, they are sharing with us what they got from one honorable member. Half bag of rice for an entire community. Ahead.
Somebody entered in a federal house in Tinubu. You got who picture Atiku. I don't have proud about eating a picture. Yeah, what I video go to the whole community. Yeah, what I say the whole community and their look at it. So on a hundred days rosy, others Hagara Yosu. Tinaka Madrema, Adarega Magudu here. Other without the room. The person the honorable Emeka Chinedu, honorable Emeka Chinedu. Look at his picture. Look at his picture. You can see.
Honorable Emeka Chinedu sending them the dividend of democracy. Yeah, and it can be that ridiculous, of course. And they will tell you that honorable sent 50 bags of rice, and they have to share this between maybe 60, 70, or 80, or sometimes maybe 100 communities. So they have to divide it into two. That's not even a bag of rice. Nigerian politicians. Well, but in that same part of eastern Nigeria, no, not even eastern Nigeria, it is actually the Asagba of Asaba. It's got this to say though, they are appreciating Kolu. I thought I should show you.
Access roads leading to the second Niger Bridge. Today you are here again for another purpose altogether, and for a better one indeed, the commissioning of the CCTV monitoring system on this corridor. We want to commend you, and through you commend Mr. President, for the good job that is being done around our axis, and still ask you that we want you to come back for something more. Let me say clearly, has been well articulated and enunciated, that the CCTV monitoring system will serve commendable purposes for us. Firstly, it will enhance security architecture along Asaba Anambra axis. Secondly, it will also help to prevent crime and criminality, especially vandalization. And we have noted that over a period of time, the major problem that maintenance of bridges of this nature, infrastructures of this nature encounter is one of vandalization. I believe with this will become a thing of the past, and we commend. We also note with a lot of encouragement that this has also been done, the third mainland bridge, just recently. So it is something to be worthy of commendation, one that is worthy of admiration, and one that certainly stands out to renew hope of the people. And on that, we will say well done.
So Devolumai is currently commissioning CCTV, setting up CCTV on his projects. I don't want to go into that. Anyway, so they are showing appreciation. And there's another one called Enugu. Is it called Enugu Onitsha Road? Not sure. Devolumai too. That in the eastern part of Nigeria, and they're saying this is Tinubu's show of sincerity to the people of the eastern Nigeria, and therefore they are going to deliver millions of votes to him. I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm finishing early again. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Right? So thanks for your time. So please remember, like and share the broadcast if you haven't already. And I'm going to put yesterday's replay back on tonight. So if you're still not, watch the replay from yesterday. Miss it. Thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And let's meet again.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one.
Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú.
Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one.
Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí.
Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun dayari Mayebi number one.
Mayegun dayari politico.
Mayegun
gbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Mayegun diary na him be number one.
Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ o làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary na him be number one.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Bí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Mayegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà ìtú wọn síta.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Mayegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Mayegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.